Hello, how does this look? Hi. Well, this is Gabriola Highland, and I spend a night down here with some friends. I'm reading this book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles. The author is a surgeon, and it's helping. It's tough. I feel better than I have for a while, for a few days. I found a profile in here that fits me exactly. He goes on about a lot of things, about your mind and about disease and how your mind plays such a big role in it. This is me. It says, the typical cancer patient, let's say a man, experienced a lack of closeness to his parents during childhood, a lack of So anyway, in reading this book, and I want to read you this passage. I've been visiting some friends here, like I was saying, and it's kind of interesting. It's hard to accept this, and I don't know what to do about it, but I have no doubt that it's true. The typical cancer patient, let's say a man, experienced a lack of closeness to his parents during childhood, a lack of the kind of unconditional love that would have assured him of his intrinsic value and the ability to overcome challenges. As he grew up, he became strongly extroverted, but not so much from an innate attraction to others, but as from a dependency on them for validation of his own worth. Adolescence was even harder for this future cancer patient than for other teenagers. Difficulty in forming more than superficial relationships led to an excruciating loneliness and reinforced an earlier feeling of inadequacy. Such a person tends to view himself as stupid, clumsy, weak, inept at social games and sports, despite real achievements that are often the envy of classmates. At the same time, he may cherish a vision of the real me who is supremely gifted, destined to benefit the human race with vague but transient accomplishments. But this authentic self is carefully hidden in the belief that it would jeopardize the subjectivity, minimal acceptance and love that a person has received. He thinks that if I act the way I feel, like a child, brilliant, loving, and crazy, I will be rejected. This is true. This is so true about me that I basically stopped reading this book when I got to that point. So far, I've got to get back on it, but the point is what to do about it. You know, it's easier to understand these things than it is to really act upon them. And really, you know, what if it's too late? You know, you can't help but feel that a little bit. Well, I guess I better get going. And sun's come out nice. Get down to the ferry and get back to Vancouver. I'll talk to you later. Okay, this is a boat belonging to some friends of mine down there at Granville Island. I guess I should go down and see them. It's Christmas Day. I suppose I should go down and see those friends of mine. That's their boat. I wish I was down there. Well, it's Tuesday the 28th. I've been running around trying to find some other books and read some more. Did some relaxation techniques where I'm supposed to come up with things. And the images keep coming up. Are mostly fears of sexual inadequacy, other types of inadequacy, but sexual inadequacy, some sort of deep-rooted disgust with my physical appearance, and some guilt, I think, about not having children. Or something of that nature that I don't totally understand. I showed a friend one of my tapes today. I think he was kind of shaken.
Yeah. Batteries or calculator? Is it for camera or calculator?
Okay, it would come to $240 individually, $210 as a package.
$210 as compared to $199.
Yeah.
I think this is the better value for me for the few seconds it takes to flip the thing off and on in my yard. Plus, if I get a bigger camera sometime and I got the other head, I can
That's right.
mix and match them. Yeah.
And you, if you find
The other thing is, I find this is the other ones are a little bit light, and if you start turning things,
yeah.
you know, it well, the weight balance is going on to shit. I don't know how this is all going to be headed together lately. A lot of it will probably be chucked out, obviously. I think of all kinds of things to say when I'm laying in bed or driving or something like that. No, and I can't say it when the camera gets here. Sometime I should talk to you about my school, my early schooling, and about my parents. I gotta get into it, I don't want to. Because I know probably they're gonna see this eventually. Oh, and they've been through a lot of shit. They don't need this really much any more than I do, that's for sure. Blister packs, Jesus Christ. Why don't you get a pair of scissors? That's the way I am sometimes. I'm buggering out my teeth instead of going over there and getting a pair of scissors. Why do I do that? About 2 days ago I was in a coffee shop and there's a young woman working there that really was looking at me in a manner that, and phew, she's just the type I like, right? So I went back today and I froze up. I knew I did. I mean, it has, not that it hasn't happened before, but I mean, with all the stuff that I'm pushing myself now, you know, it became obvious. And it makes it so hard because I beat myself about it. Oh, Jesus. This has been going on really bad for a month. She's not the only one. I'm downtown now, there's women all over the place. A lot of them single, and most of the guys are gay, so if you look like you're a heterosexual, they're probably interested in you. I told my psychiatrist that I thought if I had been blatantly homosexual, it would have been a lot easier. I wouldn't maybe have to deal with so much of this stuff. I don't know. It's got to the point where I don't know where. I don't really want to go out because I don't want to see any women. Oh, God. I had a premonition or a dream about a child that was aborted in a relationship I had with a woman about 4 years ago. And in that dream I learned or believed that the child that she aborted was a female child. This upset me very, very badly. Because I think because if I had known it was a female child, I wouldn't have allowed it to be aborted. Or wouldn't have encouraged her to have an abortion. This seems like incredibly bizarre circumstances. But there's all kinds of things coming up now. And the more I delve into this, the more I realize that it's not as simple as something goes wrong with your body and you get cancer. That's not the way it is. It's not the way it is at all. Okay, here we are. Manual focus, manual exposure. Okay, here's automatic everything with a polarizing filter. I'm spinning the filter now.
This is digital zoom. Well, here we are inside. You know, if I hadn't built this boat, I could have done this, that, or the other thing. But you see, would you have? No one knows. It's a tremendous commitment nonetheless. And I once met a psychiatrist who had built a Horseman, 42-foot Horseman trimaran. And it was an exceptional boat. I would say it was the most exceptional home-built boat I have ever seen. The kind of work and dedication that went into that boat was so extraordinary, it had to be seen to believe. To be believed, really did. I asked him one time about the nature of building boats and about what you needed to build a boat like this, aside from money. And he told me that in order to build a boat to these sort of standards, you have to have a firm idea about the nature of neurosis. It took me a long time to understand what that means. Building a boat is a process of discovery. And what you may discover, you may not like. And you better understand that before you start. Anyway, enough preaching. And on with the show. It's New Year's. Maybe you can hear the noise in the background. 1994 was going to be an eventful year for me one way or the other. This is the year it'll either say Danny Ryder 1949 to 1994 or not. My father never ever wanted to help me make money. He really only wanted me to work so close to him so he could punish me for coming along and ruining his youth. Huh. Oh well. I pissed away so much more money in the last 5 years probably than he got for his business when he retired. Stupid asshole. But how can you not love them, you know? By the time they're old, they love you so much. They've forgotten everything that happened. It changes. Do I want to live to see them even? I'm going to try, I think. I'm going to try and get really optimistic about it. Try and take all the hate out of me. Learn to love myself. So if I have the transplant, at least I got a better shot at it. No sense living the way I was living. No sense going through a transplant if I'm just going to have to live the way I was living. Was it really life? Well, I'll leave the fools to having their good time down there and go get some sleep. I think that when I was young, I was so socially inept, and I never had girlfriends really very good. And I never had much social life, and I always hung around with people who were, I'm not trying to belittle them, but they were intellectually, and inferior is the wrong term, but were unlike me. They were not artistic at all. They were not the same type of person as me, largely, the people I hung around with when I got older. And I think the reason is I'm afraid of myself, I'm afraid of what I am, I'm fearful that other people will challenge me and I'll be found wanting. So I hang around with people who aren't challenging. I don't like hockey, I don't like football, I don't like those sort of things. I used to like racing cars. I like boats, I like cameras, I like photography, I like video, I like music. So that makes me different than most men. I've sometimes wondered if I'm possibly latently homosexual. I know that's crossed a lot of other people's minds because I'm somewhat less, my gestures and things, the way I speak and the way I deal with things, the way I sit and stuff is not really considered masculine in our society. So a lot of people, I think, assume that. I don't think that that's true. I think, if anything, this sounds odd, but I was thinking this tonight, if anything, I'm probably a lesbian, which doesn't make any sense at all, of course. I think I'm more attracted to women the way another woman might be attracted to another woman, which is some sort of bizarre thing. And then I read somewhere saying that most transvestites are heterosexual, which seems rather odd, and at odds with what we think in our society. People are all twisted up.
As we focus now on each
As you can see, I'm trying to do some yoga as well as the trampoline thing, and cycling and walking. Maybe next week I'll take up swimming again. I'm feeling better every day now. We're working on a bunch of things. The stretching is starting to go good. For a long time I was so disappointed with it. I'm starting to get back some flexibility. I've lost a lot of it, that's for sure. And it's beautiful weather now. Looks like we're going to have an early spring.
This is with the stabilizer. Again with the stabilizer.
Well, Tuesday the 18th, they're starting to make all kinds of appointments for me, so they saw bone marrow thing's going to start happening pretty quick. And you know, all my life I've had this sort of feeling that there's this big black thing hanging over my life. At one point I got into investigating alien abductions. I know that probably sounds completely crazy, you know, but it's true, I did. And I guess searching for the answer about what this big black thing that seemed to always be hanging over my life was. They used to drive me, or my dad did, I can't remember if my mother was there, sometimes by the boys' home, and my dad would point out to where the reform school and what they did to little kids in the reform school and how I would end up there if I didn't smarten up. And I had terrifying lucid dreams about this. I had dreams that I was still dreaming. I woke up and I was still dreaming. I could see the wallpaper on my wall in the room. I can still remember the pattern, but I was still dreaming. I was having, what do they call it? Panic syndrome. Full-fledged insanity. And I've carried that shit with me all. I just have piled all this shit on top of all that fear for the last 30-odd years, until I couldn't stand it anymore and I got cancer so I could die to get out of it. I mean, it wasn't just that, but that was a major thing. There was a split took place there in me, for sure. And I've never had a self-identity since. I've never been an adult. Of course, nobody in our family has ever been an adult, so. Hey. To give you a short rundown on it, what I've discovered now is really what it boils down to is my father's father was an alcoholic, his mother was a passive victim, and he was domineering and a perfectionist. And my mother's mother was the daughter of an alcoholic, and my mother was shy, aloof, a little bit angry too, but shy and aloof, and insecure. They had me when they were both basically teenagers and children. They're probably still children to some extent. They've worked hard to bring their lives up to a very, very good standard, but my father was a workaholic, narcissistic, when he was young, prone to violence. And then in 1958, I'd be 9 years old, I guess. My grandfather got cancer and died horribly of brain cancer. And then I was having troubles in school. I had my learning disability, and oh God, I had a terrible grade 1 teacher. And then they failed me in grade 3, something I was very bitter about. They only failed me really because I still couldn't spell. I still can't spell, but I lost all my friends. It was a great heartbreaking experience, and really embittered me towards society and people in responsible positions for the rest of my life. As I said before, about this time my grandfather died, which was very shocking to me because he was a very father figure to me. And this is when I started becoming sexually addicted. I became a peeping Tom. I started sneaking up the stairs to watch my aunt dress. She was quite young and beautiful at the time. And I started having problems with Wayne. I started stealing cigarettes out of his car. He used to hide them under the seat. I'd go out into the woods, into the bluffs in the back, and made myself a little fort. And I used to lay there and smoke cigarettes and masturbate. Then one day, for some reason, and I don't understand it, it's all clouded in an emotional dark shroud for me right at the moment, I loaded up the gun and confronted Wayne. I don't know whether I had the idea I was going to get rid of him or what. Whether he was interfering with the relationship with my grandmother or what he was doing, or I was mad at him for something. I don't know what he did. A lot of the things I've done in my life, building the sailboat, trying to go away, sail around the world, noble ideas, I still believe, interesting things to do. I mean, you might as well do something interesting. The world's screwed anyway, near as I can see. But it was an escape, and it wasn't working. And I could never make money. For years and years and years, I could never make money. All the fights my parents used to have about money, I must have something to do with it. I don't know what. I could never make money. My sister still can't. I finally did, almost by force of some kind of clash of wills and luck and everything, finally make some money in the last few years. And now I get sick. As if to find a reason to destroy myself again. Well, here I am again. I just bought this machine here. It's a trampoline type thing. And it's supposed to give you what they call rebound exercise. It's this goofy idea where, I don't know how goofy it is. Here's the change in my pocket. Has to do with increasing gravity and making your lymphatic system pump. It's also pretty good exercise, really. Surprisingly. Anyway, I went out and bought this thing, and my parents have been here and they've gone to Vancouver Island. We had a pretty good little visit. I went down to the transplant clinic, and they told me I could, well, I talked to all the some of the staff, and told me about, among other things, I could bring the video camera in when I have the transplant. Well, it's been a long time since I talked to you, and I've been going through a period of time, actually I felt pretty good. I've been going to this psychologist, and I've been dealing with a lot of things, and things have been working out. and got to the point where I did something kind of foolish. I started reducing the amount of hydroxyl I was taking, so my blood counts went back up. I saw a dentist. I got to have a tooth out, so I went down the other day and had a blood test, and it was up to 50,000. So my spleen started to get sore, and I could start to feel it under my rib cage again, so I had to go start taking 6 a day again. Monday I go back for another test. Pretty soon they're going to want to give me a date for the transplant. My parents are back from the island. It's not too bad, but it does get a little claustrophobic with all of us in here. It makes it a little bit hard for me to do the things I want to do. I had a dinner date the other night with a woman I met at Christmas. That was interesting. She knows about my condition, which is interesting. Unfortunately, she's real busy. Can't give me much time, which is disappointing. But anyway, I guess I thought for a while I might be having a remission, so that's why I started reducing the intake of the hydroxyl, which was just stupid. Rachel, the psychologist, thinks that I did it to screw myself up. And of course there is that potential possibility. I'm still having a hard time with a lot of things. I'm starting to do this, or I had been doing this affirmation thing, where I'm supposed to start thinking of myself as powerful, compassionate, wise, and loving. And I don't know how that's going to work out. So this is what my room looks like. There's the board for the calendar of the events that will take place. More about that later. I have a TV, a VCR. All the air is filtered and sanitized as it comes in through here. There's the bed. And that's me taking a picture in the mirror. Tomorrow starts chemotherapy. I'm going to go chemotherapy all the way to the 24th. And I rest for a day, and then I get the transfusion of my sister's bone marrow on the 26th. This is dextrose, something called heparin. And this one's just sodium chloride. I don't know if they put anything in it or not. Well, the hottest thing in the hospital is Walkmans and Of course, the beds. Trying to keep all your goddamn clothes on. And that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, bad news. Bad news.
Tidying up a little bit here. Brought the paper, which is Wednesday, April the 20th. That's this morning's paper.
Mm-hmm.
It tells of terrible murder in the streets and beatings and worldwide terrorism, all sorts of wonderful things.
Mayhem, in other words.
Yes.
Here we are. I still got hair. It's the 21st, and I hung up a bunch of pictures today, and so everything's going well. My bone marrow biopsy from a few days ago was good. My sister's on her way down on the weekend, and
Take your temperature.
temperature
I
time?
have to take your blood pressure too because I didn't do it this morning, did I?
No, okay.
You looked fine.
I look robust enough under the circumstances.
The hat's quite good on you.
Yeah, I'll try to better bring something. It's kind of boring. You got newspapers here to read. I got a book by Kurt Vonnegut I'm reading right now. He says here, that you should there's 3 rules of life. Never eat at a place called Mother's or Mom's. Never play cards with a man named Doc. And most important of all, never go to bed with anybody who has more problems than you do. Remember that.
One, two, up, 3. Just sit there and sit tight. Don't move. You know why this so good? Because you're cooking the chicken inside out. I'm down to 2.
The Hollywood spotlight can bring so much career and financial success, but it also looms large in so many romantic disasters.
I don't know what's going on, but I doubt if I wasn't one, I wouldn't be standing in front of a camera with my wife talking.
I think it's very hard to deal with.
There's sure a certain amount of sadness about the way things have been. I feel sometimes I could have done so much more, but I didn't for whatever reason. And you know, you think, oh, you should have been a better person. But you can't spend your life pleasing everybody. hard enough to please yourself, God knows. Suppose I'll be all right. 60% chance. If I am all right, it's sure been a lesson. If I'm not, well, it'll be a lesson too, probably. Oh. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay, how are you doing now?
Not bad.
What are you up to?
Taking a picture of myself.
Well, don't take any pictures of me at the end of the day.
No.
That's all I ask.
Well, it's my first day of cyclophosphates. I had a pretty rough day today. Lots of puking and nausea. I sure hope tomorrow's better and I can get some sleep tonight. I ate lunch, puked it up, didn't eat any dinner. I hope I don't have a dry heave all night. I don't know how much rougher it can get on this particular drug. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Well, the big thing is, every time I turn on this thing now, from here on in, I'm getting worse every day for the next 3 weeks. 'Cause every time I turn this thing on, it could be the last time. It's not a good idea, I guess, to be melodramatic about it, but that's the way it is. I have a 60% chance of surviving this according to the statistics that have been related to me by the doctors. 60%. 25% of the people who die of procedural problems. That is, this next 6 weeks that I'm in here. They die of complications, allergies to drugs, pneumonia, whatever. And funny infections they can't stop. So this may or may not be my last will and testament, but here I am. I don't have any goldfish, but if I did, I'd leave them to you.